Okay, everybody, today I want to do something here. I am simulating the Cold War again in Worldbox. So it's a little bit interesting here. Of course, not everything is perfect. NATO, I think there were a few more countries in it. The Warsaw Pact, I think I almost got perfectly. But then again, in the end, these are all alliances. I'm going off a base map that I made a while back. Let me just go off of alliance map. No, off the alliance map. What? Kingdom. Yeah, kingdom. See, I made this map a while back, which is why the Mediterranean Sea, where the Gibraltar Strait should be, is 50 miles north for some reason. So anyway, let's get back to this nice alliance map, or at least nicer alliance map. So here we go. This is NATO right now. This is the Warsaw Pact. And I'm gonna say this is 1949. Give me a moment. Yeah, I think 1949, though I did look it up, and I think NATO was founded in 1947. I'm gonna set this at I'll set it at 1947. You know what? So let's hit unpause. It's going really tough here. First thing we're going to do is a few countries will be joining NATO. Considerably Spain, Andorra, Italy. Actually, I don't think Spain. I don't think Spain would have done that. Not under Franco's leadership. I don't think. But we will put Denmark in there. Denmark and Norway. Now, if I'm correct, Turkey was in this. Now, this is a little less fair for Warsaw, right? But then again, also in the Cold War, hey, just the same there. So let's check out the military of the Warsaw Pact. They have how many soldiers? 0 soldiers. I think NATO has a few more soldiers. NATO has 19. So I think NATO would probably win a war against them. Hold on, let me just make sure we have everything correct here. Okay, so that's our first thing going on here. Nothing's really happening, but okay, so in this universe, here we go. Mongolia, Mongolia asks to join the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union will accept. They'll let them in. Boom, bada bang. They're in the Warsaw Pact. And yes, I will say I do have East Germany as a part of Poland because I wasn't gonna make a new nation. That'd be a little bit harder since like all the land is already taken up. And also, I'm going to put support countries that would join a war if a massive war had started between, well, of course, Warsaw and NATO, into the separate alliances. And of course, we know Iran was working alongside the United States, so we'll put Iran in. Wait, so if Iran leaves, so Iran joining does boost up the population of it, but China also would probably join a war. Here. Nope. No. So right now it's pretty even, but Cyprus and Malta will soon be picked up by NATO. There's only a 4-person difference. Only 4 people. Who's this? Monica. I want to find 4 people. Just 4 random people. Just 4 random people. Oh wait. Holy snap! Warsaw Pact is 100 more people. When did I not realize that? 120. Wow, the Warsaw Pact's population is exponentially growing. Soon Portugal will come in, and eventually Spain, because they'll be against communism. the Vatican, Monaco very soon, Greece, San Marino, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, North Macedonia, Austria, uh, 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 North Macedonia. So population across the alliances was rapidly growing. Warsaw Pact, Cuba being in the Warsaw Pact makes sense. Seems as if they're at war with Mexico right now. NATO and the Warsaw Pact, pretty even. Let me just add two people to NATO. Make this a little bit more even. But they definitely don't want, though, a pro-communist government in Mexico. So they're gonna come along. They're gonna declare war on Mexico. They can't let Mexico be communist here. Mexico is getting bombed. Mexico is getting blown up as militaries clash down at the border. The United States military will flood in. Oh wait, is this the United States? This might not be the United States. That might be Canada. Is that Canada coming in? I think Canada's coming in to help them. So the battles of Mexico will go on. The Warsaw Pact still doesn't have that many troops. And very soon, something is to come. North Korea and South Korea. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. No, 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 no. No, no. No, no. No. No, 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 no. No, no. No. Very soon, North Korea versus South Korea will begin here. Let me just make sure that pause. Let me make sure Angry Villagers is turned on. I do want to check that, guys. Is Angry Villagers? Where? Oh, world lost. Did I turn on Angry Villagers? Okay, yeah. Because villagers technically probably would rise up. It's a little hard to tell who's winning, but I'm going to drop 2 bombs, dead center on each country. Maybe instead I should throw in grenades, I think. Boom, boom. Okay, and on the border, we'll throw in landmines because that's what it was like in real life. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, how many troops does North Korea have? North Korea has 3 soldiers. Okay, that's actually decent. Now, NATO does have most of its troops coming in here. But of course, we want specifically South Korea. Yes, South Korea has 0 troops, but Japan, who is right there, also has 0 troops. This could be a losing war for South Korea if nobody comes to help them. Boom, landmines are being set off down here. Oh snap. Yeah, people are running through. It's completely, it's complete chaos over here. South Korea falls apart, it collapses. Countries might as well just rush in to claim the land, but it looks like North Korea is going to unite Korea, which is horrible for the Cold War and for the side of the United States, as North Korea now joins in with Warsaw. Mexico is completely wiped out, and I feel like NATO would come down here and claim this. So I'm gonna put it in Guatemala is doing a lot of claiming, surprisingly. So here we go. The United States is definitely going to come down, at least claim some of this. There's going to be a new Mexican government that pops up. But Cuba, darn you, Cuba. Yeah, oh my god! This new country! This country? Wait, what country is this? Wait, pause. What country is this? Is this like a country? Cornfield. Who is Cornfield? Wait. I'll ally them back. I'm gonna put them back into the Warsaw Pact. Who is this? Colombia. Right, Colombia was in the Warsaw Pact. Colombia is gonna join in on Warsaw. But Guatemala is going to join in with the United States here in NATO. Very soon, some other countries begin to join in with, NATO, partnering with NATO. All of a sudden, it's a little bit more even. A little bit more. Then Argentina is in on this. Boom! All of a sudden, NATO population explosion. They are just surpassing anything. And it seems as if they're at war with Uruguay down here. And so Brazil's like, we're in NATO, we can do what we want. I mean, yeah. We're in NATO, let us do what we want. And they drop bombs on what was Uruguay. As Brazil kind of sweeps in, taking it all over. Up in Europe, the battle goes on pretty big. Sweden begins to be invaded by Soviet troops. Very soon, though, Sweden will be at war with, the entirety of NATO. This is a war over for Sweden. Wait, did Norway just die? Okay, so yeah, after Norway died, there's massive bombings in Sweden, especially in the north. There will be some bombings down south on their docks. Specifically one particular dock, blowing it up. This would also damage, though, a part of the Warsaw Pact. This would bring them towards the brink of war. As bombs are dropped from both sides, Sweden decides, though, to stay neutral, but they know they need help from NATO, and they join. This could be World War III. Armies of NATO are pulled back. Wait, Georgia and Armenia aren't, well, send in the Caucasus. Warsaw and NATO is happening. But it seems as if the war against Sweden has stopped. Greenland falls. There's a race to claim Iceland. Both of them will declare war on Vietnam, which is me trying to simulate, of course, the Vietnam War. And Japan's also going to come in on Vietnam here. Armies across the world, across the globe, will begin to just push in on Vietnam. They want to take over Vietnam. That sweet Vietnam. Meanwhile, Cambodia is going to declare war on Vietnam. Siem. So Cambodia Cambodia! Cambodia. Cambodia is going to begin to expand. They're gonna get pretty big down here. They kind of destroy a village. They destroy like a nation. But just so many countries have been joining in with the Warsaw Pact across every single continent. It is horrible. South Africa joins NATO. Australia joins NATO. Suddenly, it's more even. It's more on the side now of NATO. But tides are always shifting in this great big war. Very soon, the 1960s, the Cuban Missile Crisis. But some guy got fired, and the Warsaw Pact, like, shoot, nukes are coming towards us from the United States, but of course, this is just a faulty thing in your sensors, and they declare war. Wait, pause. Before we do this, 426 soldiers over there and over here, 352. Boom. Nothing hit. They noticed this was a complete mistake. But the Soviet Union and the United States are already at war. Bombs are dropped across the globe. World War III has started. Very soon, bombs across Europe and Asia and South America. For sake, there was even a bomb dropped in Antarctica. They dropped bombs across the continents of the world. Nukes began to be dropped. People would die in these explosions. Moscow were to get bombed and destroyed. Meanwhile, in North America, bombs would fall onto the White House. The leader of the United States was declared dead one day. The Soviet Union's leader, Joseph Stalin, would barely survive blows from nukes. And soon, though, he had died himself. Anarchy spread across the land. The United States Army seemed to have marched up here. Let's see this. This looks like a battle going on. Looks like some United States troops are ransacking the Warsaw Pact. Pause right now. The United States is getting overrun by Soviet troops. The United States might fall. Holy moly, the United States. The United States of America falls to Colombia, then Canada. Canada takes it. Very soon, a nuclear missile is spotted up north in the Colombian skies. Cuba is bombed completely to smithereens. Colombia's king would be bombed down into Honduras in a massive bombing campaign to kill him. But for some reason, the Colombian king just won't die. Without their king, they just genuinely would not survive. Bro, this king has some weird goofy trait, yo, this king. This king, what are his goofy traits? He has no goofy traits, bro. I might genuinely just have to straight up nuke this guy. Like, literally nuke him. There we go. Bye. Bye. Oh my god, that's not the King of Colombia. The King of Colombia died. Nukes get bigger and are dropped more across the globe. Many fall in the Asian skies and Europe and North America. South America doesn't get hit very much, but when it does, it was always horrible. The Earth would begin to collapse as nukes fell, each side taking heavy hits. The Warsaw Pact had only 85 troops, and NATO had 226. This just might not be a winning war for Warsaw. Very soon, countries would begin to leave. Countries would rebel. Again, no, come back. Countries would completely rebel against Warsaw. Very soon, China knows. It's just too late. Mongolia leaves the alliance completely, but it's horrible. China is somehow forced back in, but on Beijing, something terrible would happen as a napalm bomb falls from the sky. They see a bright light shining, but it's not hope. It's not survival. Massive bombs crash into China. China and Korea must leave the Warsaw Pact to survive. This leaves Russia almost all on their own. Suddenly, the biggest nuke the world has ever made. There's only one in existence, made by Europe, is dropped. Boom. And right on top of Russia, destroying their land, their soil, everything. The Kremlin burns in ashes. Moscow would burn to the ground. Armies would invade. China would fall down. China would bow to a new alliance. NATO would begin to grow up. The turtle axe would grow weak and fail at everything it wants to do. As bombs fall on top of the turtle axe and the supreme spirits. When distributing the new government of Colombia. At the same time, nothing was the same. Nukes, those giant nukes, were developed in mass by Europe. They put almost all of their budget to it. Boom, boom, boom. Very soon, Colombia is extinguished. Colombia falls into many factions and many parties when the nukes fall. They must rebuild from their fallen civilization. They must rebuild what was theirs. The world is a much different place now. Instantly, the United States is reformed. Maybe slightly different, but it's still there. Canada reforms. Both of their governments choose to join NATO in their great war against the Soviets. Very soon, the NATO would grow exponentially, and one final of those nukes would be dropped on top of the Russians. Of the Russians. Of the Russians! So confused. Boom. Boom. The Russian army collapses. The Soviet Union would fall. And soon small factions begin to take that over. A massive civil war would break out. Humanity would collapse under nuclear radiation. Factions would claim to re-establish the government. Quickly, the Reich would be formed. But many countries would be destroyed. Very soon, there'd be almost no more Warsaw. Warsaw would basically collapse. The last members of it would fall into chaos. Greenland would die out. A fading light of the Warsaw Pact, as nukes would be dropped on top of it. But a last devastating event would come. Very soon, hundreds of meteors just crash into Beijing randomly, and boom, boom, boom. Most of the Warsaw Pact split into smaller alliances, now fighting. Very soon, the world would change. The skies darken with nuclear radiation, and would stay this way for many years. Though NATO was still together, it was much harder for them, the nations of the world, to form. Very soon, Brazil would cause NATO to go into a war with Ecuador, which was a part of the Supreme Spirits Alliance, and NATO would have to face that. This was horrible for NATO, as now they had to go up against something huge. NATO and, of course, the Alliance would fight. Germany would begin to greatly expand across Europe, taking in many people. They soon took over many lands across many areas. It was a little bit strange, as Germany would begin to take over and destroy Europe as a whole, taking everything of Europe over. Villages would fall and get destroyed. Very soon, Europe was owned by Germany. And Germany was made up of heartless skeletons who wanted to rule the world. and they soon joined in with NATO. Very soon, no, the new Russian alliance would form between RH and Mongolia. Very soon, LaGuardia would go into this, being its only way of protection. Meanwhile, India, Taiwan, whatever country that is, would form an alliance, and the age of alliances would become. But there was one dominant one that quickly everyone would join. But there were certain governments that did not want to be a part of NATO. So they formed their own alliance. To rise up against NATO. Take back Africa. Take back the world. This alliance was taken seriously across the globe. Alliances would fall apart. And everyone who did not support NATO in any singular way would join it. They'd join this new alliance. They'd join it. Even Antarctica joined it. And suddenly, the United States declares war on RH. India declares war on Brazil. This is already a world war. In Africa, suddenly, everything begins to crumble in Africa. Africa is one of the biggest fighting grounds. Nukes get dropped across the continent by each side. It is horrendous. Horrendous, I say. World War IV starts quickly. Noses of Fire begins to push in to South Africa, and they nuke it very quickly. But this would be responded by 2 giant nukes and a few massive populations, and there were pushes back. Noses of Fire, a bomb would drop on some kings. A bomb would be dropped on Madagascar, their king almost dying. In Africa, the bombing begins to die down subtly. Some countries begin choosing the winning side. They begin sitting down and helping other sides. And the war does not do amazing. At least not for these rebels of sorts. So, who exactly did Germany did it? Germany took over. And yeah, Germany. And for the rebels, they were nuked. Of course, there were nukes dropped in other areas too. But the rebels, especially in China, in Asia to be specific, where now most of the fighting was, many nukes would be dropped on leaders' houses. On places, the New Mexico, weirdly enough, would be bombed, completely obliterated off the world map. Their kingdom would be destroyed. Greenland civilization would have a random bomb just fall right there, and their kingdom was destroyed, rest in peace. And there were massive bombings along the shore. An atomic bomb straight there blew up. Oh yeah, for some reason, Greenland was just absolutely destroyed and torn apart by NATO for minerals. Yes, NATO. They find many, many precious resources there. But it's not officially claimed by anyone, so anyone could just go over there and take some of the minerals for themselves. So this would kind of be a race for Greenland. Very soon, a new alliance would form against NATO. The great power. Brazil would actually join in on this. Ethiopia would get in on this. New Zealand would get in on this. Massive conflict would then break out with Brazil going to war with the United States. Very soon, Brazil would unleash their nukes across the remainder of South America. But they wouldn't be the only ones dropping nukes in this war, as they would also have a few nukes dropped on them. Soon on the United States, nukes would be dropped. People would die. And it was horrible in the Americas. It was a bloody, bloody war. One of the mega nukes had to be used to stop Brazil. So it was. And suddenly everyone would spite those nations. Complete war would break out against them. Wait, who the heck is claiming Brazil? We just claimed all of Brazil. Oh darn it. No, they're losing claim of Brazil. Claim Brazil! Oh, it's Argentina. Long, long rivals. All of the nuclear ruckus would cause a few volcanoes to erupt. Just a few. Just a few. Clouds of dust and lava and fire would spread across the globe. A little bit of acid, too. Which genuinely was just from the nukes, but yeah. The sky would clear up. But it wasn't because the nukes had stopped. It was because an ice age Yeah, and snow was falling. Snow was falling. So his fire would rampage across the destroyed world. Thunderstorms, normal rain, rage clouds would all form across this globe. Very, very soon, the world would enter an all-out war period. Why is it so laggy? Okay? Just, you know, did I pause the game? No. What the heck? Give me a moment, guys. This is me like an hour later. It's frozen still. So yeah, that's that. Basically, what would happen is like World War 89 billion, and yeah, then the entire world would fall apart by